Hi, I'm Naomi with the Naomi Butler Show. Today I'm giving you my art story part two, which is how it all started. And so each one of us has our own story, and here is part of mine. I grew up as a PK, which is a preacher's kid. And I learned by watching my parents that I loved helping others. That's been my passion in everything I do. My Aunt Mary, who was my dad's sister, was an oil landscape artist. And I remember seeing her art and wishing I could do that, thinking I can't paint or draw. And there were no art supplies or paints in our home. So it was just never really thought about and definitely never pursued. As a young mom, many years ago, I got into a multi level marketing business that involved crafts and felt ornaments sewn together, and I mainly did it for me. Didn't really sell it to anybody. I can't remember the name of it. I also did some macrame, and I made items out of yarn and that plastic grid canvas. For instance, those Kleenex holders and other items. So even though I was somewhat crafty, I just never bought paints and went that route. And then later I ended up buying some expensive art because it had lots of color and they were just so colorful. I love color. And so I had expensive art from other artists. And then in July 2012, I went to Painting with a Twist with one of the wedding associations in our industry here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And I was sitting beside somebody who is an artist, and she's very good and very talented. And it was just awesome to watch her. She did everything the teacher said. They were supposed to create bubbles, and she made it look easy. And I was not really paying attention. I guess maybe I'm more of a rebel than I thought. And I did something totally different than anybody else and surprised myself even with mixing up some colors, just playing around. Keep in mind, this was my first time to ever use an artist brush and artist paints. And then somebody said it looked like fire, so I decided to stop and call it fire. And the teacher showed me how to use a blow dryer to dry the acrylic paint so that it would not get paint on anything and I could take it home with me. And that weekend, I remembered how much fun that was. And so off to Michael's I went. I bought some cheap paints, some of those small 3/4 inch deep canvases. I think they were 8 by 10s, and then a few cheap brushes. And because I love the sunsets, beaches, and the waves in Hawaii, I tried to do some paintings along that line. One of them didn't even get painted on the side because I didn't think about it. I didn't know to do that. And one of those first 5 paintings was a purple sunset from a time when my daughter Mary and I were driving back from northern Arizona down south to Mesa and leaving when the sun was going down behind the mountains. And it was just so beautiful. It's still etched in my mind because it was a purple sunset, my favorite color. And I had fun with that painting, even with just one layer, not knowing that you were supposed to be layering and using lots of layers. I just used one. So my first 5 paintings mean a lot to me to this day because it was the start of a new adventure that I'd never dreamed I'd be on, much less love it as much as I do. And then by May of 2013, I had a lot of different paintings because I was just all over the place with what I was painting. I was just having fun. And I tried to do an outside Mayfest show in Fort Worth. It ended up teaching me a lot about not wanting to do outside shows. It rained, it was cold, I dealt with mosquitoes, and thank goodness I had a tent and you would enclose it at night and leave it and come back, and we had a lot of wind, we had a lot of dust. I had to clean everything off after that event because it was dusty. And so I learned a lot about outside shows. And then at my Dallas Bridal Show in July, just a few months later after that, that same year, I sold my first 2 paintings. I was just so giddy. It felt so awesome to know that somebody loved my art. And so I kept learning and trying new techniques, and I watched hundreds of videos. if not thousands over the years, of other artists painting, but I knew I had to find my own way. And as you heard in my art story part one, I was asked by my good friend Glenn, who's a high end interior designer, what do you want your art to say about you? And you heard my answer in that video, which is all about helping others. When you paint something that creates a positive emotion to someone else, that is helping them. You are passing on a positive vibe. And God gave me art knowing it would help me in many ways later, as well as helping others along the way. And through the learning curves, which will still go on forever, I realize continually that I have a lot to learn. There are so many aspects to creating beautiful art, including having fun and enjoying the process. In the next video, I will share some of the steps to enjoying the process and explain that further from my point of view. As artists, we learn so much from other artists, and we never start out at the top. We start here, we grow and evolve and get better over time because we're learning more about being ourselves, doing what we love, figuring out what part of creating that painting that we enjoyed, which techniques were fun to do, what brush strokes and that we enjoyed, how it felt. And that's part of finding your way in your style. So stay tuned for part 3 of my art story, enjoying the process. And as you can tell, some of my hair start to grow out and my hair matches my shirt. So we're just going to continue with this art story because it is a continual process. It evolves just like I'm evolving. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe. Ring that notification bell so you'll be notified of new videos. And I hope these have been helpful and fun. The next one will give a lot of tips and ideas, I think, for artists to enjoy the process. Thank you so much. See you later.